I'll be speaking with Dr. Abraham Weizfeld, who's in Nablus, Palestine, at the Huwara Palestinian Cultural Enlightenment Forum. And he was a witness to a killing that took place at Huwara on the 18th. Good afternoon, or good evening.
Good day to you, Stan, and to the struggle. Thank you.
All right, so I want to talk about first what happened before you started filming. What kind of demonstration was there, and what was its purpose and what you saw?
There was a call from Marwan Barghouti, who's on the hunger strike and one of the initiators of the hunger strike, for civil disobedience actions, because the Palestinian leadership, both of them, were not saying anything in support of the Palestinian prisoners and the Palestinian prisoners' hunger strike. Their demands for 2 family visits a month instead of 1, and to administrative detention without charge, and treatment according to the Geneva Accords. So we went out to do a civil disobedience action at the town of Huwara, which has a highway passing through, Highway 60, which is shared by both the settlers and the Palestinians, because there's no other space to put the highway. So we went out with a bus from Nablus with middle-aged people who are political activists here, and without young people who are more volatile. And we went there, marching down the road on the outgoing lane. Then we were crossing the median to the incoming traffic, and started the civil disobedience action. Some people were sitting down, lying down, even in front of the cars. And a settler's car was stopped at that point. Now, the settler's car didn't have very many people in front of it. Nobody was throwing stones at the settler's car. This is a very important point. There was only civil disobedience action taking place. Then his car moved forward, hit some people, and stopped once again. Then lurched forward a second time, hitting a number of other people. And there happened to be an ambulance that was passing over the median in order to get to the front of the demonstration that he hit after he had gone through a number of demonstrators.
Then at that point, we see people going to the car and kicking it. Is that right?
That's right. People were kicking the car. They were outraged that he, speeded up his car and hit a number of demonstrators. So there was no stone throwing even at that point. But after he hit the ambulance and was immobilized, then some people came to the front of the car and started throwing stones at the windshield. Then I saw him pick up a gun. I started to do a video of him, and I saw through the window that he was picking up a gun. So, I've read stories about settlers doing this sort of thing, taking this, because they have been stopped in some sort of weird road rage, they pick up a gun and start shooting. So I started backing up, but I kept on videotaping the incident. And
now at the time, did you know the settler was shooting?
I didn't know, but I saw him pick up a gun. That's when I started to back off, but I continued with the video, which is on the YouTube channel for my name, and tried to find a car to hide behind.
Now, in one of the news articles, the settler says, I was surrounded and, feared for my life and all that. I mean, from the video that I've been seeing, number one, he wasn't surrounded and an army jeep was right next to him. What is your take on that?
The only stone throwing that began after he hit the ambulance was at the front windshield of the car. It was only 2 or 3 people, and they would back off and hide behind the ambulance after throwing something. And he picked up a gun. I saw him through the window. Then he turned around, according to other videos, and aimed out the back of the car because there was nobody in front of his car. So he wasn't surrounded. He was protected on the other side by the military jeep. He was covered on the opposite side by the ambulance. The only open view he had was from the back of his car, and there was no people in close proximity. There were no stones being thrown. His windshield was intact until he shot a bullet hole out of the window into the crowd at a distance. Now, Muataz, who was killed, the martyr, the Shahid, a young man who was walking around, according to other videos, without having thrown any stones, without even being on the street, was shot in the back of the head and killed instantly some distance away. That is about 20 to 30 feet away, about 10 to 15 meters away. And a journalist was also shot in the wrist. A journalist wouldn't be throwing stones, on first principles. And the settler admits that to the police in a report that he was shooting randomly, which to me, in any other circumstance, would be treated as a criminal action.
Well, my final question, here this fella shot somebody, the soldiers are next to him, they must certainly have known that. Did they then take his gun? Did they cordon off the area? Did they call for other vehicles?
No, nothing. The soldiers in the jeep did not come out of the jeep, and the ambulance moved away. The settler car was able to leave the scene, and I was able to get a zoom of his license plate number and was able to identify the settler as a result. And he left the scene, and no other soldiers stopped him down the road. He was not arrested. His gun was not taken away. He is now free, has his gun, and could do the very same thing again.
Thank you very much.